What's good, everybody? It's Mike Reed, and welcome to My Life Ministries, where leadership, influence, faith, and evolvement are the principles that we look to live by every single day of our life. And by us living those principles, it helps us to help youth to become motivated young leaders to implement faith every day in their lives as well. Today, I just want to get on here to encourage somebody and let them know that something is getting ready to happen in your life, that God is getting ready to shift some things around. And what I mean by that is that God is getting ready to subtract some things from your life only so he can multiply some things in your life. And that subtraction that is getting ready to come, it's going to be suddenly, but at the same time, it's going to be uncomfortable because you're not going to be sure of the subtraction that God is bringing into your life. But when you begin to feel the fact that things are beginning to be subtracted from your life, go with it. Go with the flow of it and trust God as he moves and as he navigates your direction and as he pushes you to this new step in your life, because he's trying to better some things, and he's trying to clean house, and he's trying to prepare a place for you to be able to go to, so that everything in your life will be the way that the way that he intends it to be. So when God begins to subtract some things in your life, you never know what it's going to be. It could be subtraction in a relationship. It can be a subtraction in in family. It can be a subtraction with friends. It can be subtraction with your job. It can be subtraction just with the business. God can change some things up. He can shift some things, but just trust in the process of what it is that he's doing in your life, because he's going to multiply it. But he has to take you away from some things and take some things away from you that you may not understand. And it's okay for you not to understand the meaning of subtraction when it comes to God, because it's not always meant to feel good. It's not always meant, when God begins to do things in your life, it's not always meant to be, to give you this feeling of just, of just this peace and of just this full on joy. Yes, God, he gives us joy. God, he gives us peace, but we have to learn how to carry that joy and carry that peace, even in the midst of bad situations, even in the midst of things that we don't understand, even in the midst when we feel like, we have heaviness on us. We have to learn to carry that joy, and we have to learn to cast down the devil when he comes and he puts these thoughts in our mind when God is doing something in our life that we may not understand. That's when we have to hold on to who God is. We have to hold on to his word. We have to hold on to his direction. We have to hold on to his promises and allow God to subtract things from our lives. And if we can allow God to subtract things from our lives, I guarantee you, and I promise you this, just by being a living testimony, that as God begins to multiply things in your life, you'll understand why you had to face the things that you were going through. You'll understand why he had to remove, why he had to subtract those things from your life, because he's going to multiply you. He's going to multiply you. So don't be afraid of the subtraction. Whatever it is, just listen to God. And in this moment, I even ask that when you go back today and just in your prayer closet or in your time that you spend with God, when if this message, if it's agreeing with your spirit, then ask God to prepare you for that, and however God sees fit to prepare you for that, whether he sits back and he tells you, just to be still in that moment, whether he sits back and he tells you, just to continue to trust me, if he sits back and he tells you, not to worry, you take the word that he gives you and you trust him in that process, because I guarantee you and I promise you that your life is going to become better, because this is a moment of subtraction. This is a moment that God is going to move heavy in your life. This is a moment that God is going to move different. But in order for you to reach the finish line of what God has for you, in order for you to reach that end point to where you can go into something new and that your mindset can be changed in a certain way, you're going to have to understand that God is going to subtract, and then another thing that people got to really understand is that sometimes, when God subtracts things, it may not mean that he's opening up this big door for you to receive this big blessing. He may begin to subtract things to prepare your mind. He may begin to subtract things to allow you to mature more. He may begin to subtract things to allow you to humble yourself. There's so many different ways of how God may move, but whatever it is that he's subtracting from your life, it could be something personal that he's subtracting just from your person. Agree with it and trust God, because in the end, God's going to win. In the end, God is going to multiply, and that multiplication that is coming into your life is going to be great, whether it is financially, whether it is everything that you've been praying for, everything that you've been waiting for, whether it's physically, whether it's mentally, whether it's getting closer to God, whatever the case may be, God is getting ready to multiply some things in your life. So do not be afraid of the subtraction. Accept it, agree with it, and let God do what he has to do, because this is the time of subtraction, so God can multiply in your life. So I just wanted to get on here and encourage somebody and let them know that God is getting ready to subtract only so that he can multiply. You guys have a wonderful and a blessed day, and I'll talk to you soon.